Turn that down a little bit.
The first thing is our flag salute. I think you turned me down. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. I think mine is down.
Okay, Miss Bullenbacher, not here. Mr. Chandler? Here. Miss Compatello?
Here.
Mr. Hof? Here. Mr. Oliverio?
Here.
Miss Pakalnik?
Here.
Mr. Rodilla? Here. Mayor Perry?
Here.
Solicitor Corbel? Here. Engineer Keenan? Here. And myself. And that we have a quorum.
Great. All right, the consent agenda. The council meeting minutes from January 25th of 2024 were on the OneDrive. And also the bill list from February 8th of 2024 were also on the OneDrive for everyone to review. Any questions or comments regarding any of those? Ms. Comptello, did you have a chance to?
We did, the borough manager and I did talk through the, some of the bills. We do have some questions, but we have some steps that we've already discussed and we'll discuss again in the infrastructure committee with how we're going to change a little bit how we track our expenses moving forward with one of our consultants.
So are you okay with that invoice, those invoices?
We left it as I was comfortable with holding them or approving them if the borough manager wanted to continue. Because it has already been discussed several times. So we left it as we didn't make a final call. I left it in his hands to see if we needed a follow-up or if we were going to proceed. And it was just a few days ago. So I think we were going to try to get a hold of you. And if that hasn't happened yet, we might want to continue holding that, but I'm going to hear his thoughts.
Yeah, that's fine. We just discussed it yesterday and Larry and I just spoke today. So if we want to hold for another period and then we'll address them the next time.
All right, so on the bill list, we want to pull out the gateway invoices. And did anybody have any questions on any of the other invoices or the meeting minutes? Need a motion to approve the February 8th, 2024 consent agenda minus the gateway invoices.
So moved.
All right, Ms. Polkownik,
Second.
Mr. Chandler, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Right. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's session. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Do we have anybody signed in?
No, nobody signed it.
Okay.
No.
And on Zoom, you just need to raise your hand, which is a phone call, so there can't be a hand raised. Okay, President's report. So for tonight, we have Connect here, 3 representatives from Connect, and that's the Congress of Neighboring Communities, and they would like to do a presentation for us tonight, so I'll allow you guys to introduce yourselves. Thanks.
Apologies. The one I gave you is our old one. That's what's our new updated info on.
Yep.
Apologies,
I know this speech, so.
Yeah, I had the old documents mixed in with our new ones. So
We just got rebranded.
we just
Spun out of it.
so we're very excited about that. So we just became a nonprofit moving out of the University of Pittsburgh. So this is the one we have with all of our updated info. So Jim can get those for you. For those of you who don't know who we are, I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm the Director of Public Safety and Wellbeing for Connect. Connect brings together the city of Pittsburgh and surrounding municipalities to identify common policy issues and different challenges that our areas are facing. We have 130 local governments in Allegheny County. They exist to deliver services to their communities, and we want to be able to help them provide services as well. Either by collaboration or working on different projects that are important to the communities. So that's what we would really like to come in and help assist you all with. And some of those, we have highlighted on this, just a couple of the projects that we're currently working on. Right now, we have a Future of Fire project that we've been working on for a couple of years now. We did release a needs assessment report in 2022. And from there, we're going to be implementing some of those recommendations from that report. We're currently working on a proposal to submit to DCED for funding to continue working on that program and to bring our Future of Fire consultant in full time to continue that work. We also have a law enforcement assisted diversion program. You should have some copies of the information on that in front of you, but what this is, it's a national model. It's works with different communities. Right now, we have 11 communities that are providing lead. And what that is we help police officers and communities who are frequently coming into contact with people with unmet behavioral health needs and substance use disorders who just kind of are revolving in and out of the criminal legal system. What we're able to do is divert any arrests that they might have again for low-level crime, shoplifting, possession, theft, loitering, things like that due to their unmet behavioral health needs. And what we can do is divert their charges and connect them with long-term case management. Right now, like I said, we're in 11 communities and we have over 143 referrals for that program. And it's been really successful. We started in September of 2023 with that. Then I can pass it on to Eric, who can talk a little bit about the work he's doing.
Yeah, so I'm Eric, Director of Infrastructure and Resilience for FINEP. So I head up the Infrastructure and Resilience Working Group, and we primarily focus on infrastructure issues like stormwater, transportation, tree canopy, solar, EVs, anything like that. We get local governments together around those shared public policy issues and explore some solutions with them that otherwise they wouldn't have access to on their own. So for example, right now we're working on a large solar power purchase agreement with a bunch of municipalities all at once. And it's a really clever way of doing it because power purchase agreements would not normally be offered to individual governments, especially the ones the size of Crafton. And so we're doing that with 8 governments right now and trying to save some of our governments some money. We're doing the same thing with electric vehicles. We just started that last week, where we're giving some free consulting services to municipalities that are looking to see whether fleet, whether public curbside, any of that type of charging might work out for your community. It's free, no commitment. We're going to walk them through that process and then apply for some funding together as a group instead of, again, supporting just one municipality at a time. So we do those things. We also talk about some issues that other governments have as priorities, and also you can always suggest new priorities to us inside of our working groups that we can then start projects and work with your neighbors on. So if you need to email me about anything, any infrastructure resilience, you can email us on the news sheet. And with that, I think we would introduce Tiffany Fulton. We just hired 2 new staffers to work on collaborative funding. And then Tiffany, you are community envisioning and engagement. So you don't have to say anything, just if you want to.
Sure.
I think your first day was just like a week ago, right?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Just seems like a week.
Yeah.
So hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Talton. I'm the new Director of Community Visioning and Adaptation. This is my second day, so just wanted to introduce myself to all of you. I come with a background in education and public health and community development for about 20-something years at this point. I'm really concerned about climate change and adaptation, and that's really what my focus is going to be as part of the team. Looking at how our different communities throughout the county can work on regional climate action plans, and specifically our communities of color, our low-income communities, our Justice 40 communities. How can they get involved? How can we make sure that everybody is prepared, ready, and getting their needs met on environmental issues and climate change? So thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and if you have any questions or if we want to set up any further meetings, just email us and let us know. We're happy to come out. So,
Thank you for having us.
Wait, does anybody have any questions for the group? So, I had a question. Did you pulled out a pit then, or
Yes.
your own nonprofit, so emails changed and everything else?
Emails changed.
Okay.
Yeah, we changed. We now have, we're gonna be, I went to the new board of directors. We're gonna have a new
Okay.
board of directors.
Mhm.
Yeah, so,
Okay, great,
yeah, it's really exciting.
Yes.
So, yeah,
great. Jim is on the board of directors, right?
he is.
That's correct.
For you?
No,
I
they're.
think I'm nominated.
Okay.
Yeah.
She might be nominated.
That's like our executive director, like, they have two super connectors. They're not in the room here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. We thank you. We love.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for having us.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think we've given updates on this and we've talked about it, but we are definitely a member of the Connect group. We are one of the member communities that participates and has access to the resources and the collaboration that they offer.
Great. All right, that's it for my report. Next is the mayor's report.
Nothing to report this evening.
Thank you. Solicitor's report.
I have nothing other than to announce we're having executive session following the meeting to discuss property and personnel. Yeah, personnel. Yep. That's the end of my report.
Engineer's report, Mr. Keenan.
Good evening. So I just want to go over a couple updates and some of the ongoing projects that we have here in the borough. Starting with the Broadhead project, just as a reminder, this is a storm sewer separation project that is being proposed along Broadhead Avenue. And in order for this project to be successful in construction, we need to obtain a couple easements on some properties. And right now we have 2 of them secured. And some of the other ones, we are kind of in the middle of some back and forth legal questionnaires with the property owners. And it's to the point where we've decided that we would look into eminent domain as possibilities on these properties. And with some discussion with our solicitor, we've got in touch with an appraiser, and we are moving forward with getting some appraisals done on these properties. Any questions on that?
Can you clarify? I know we've been trying to reach out to those owners for quite some time, and we do have a deadline to move this project forward. It is a requirement to meet our consent decree. So we do have to do the stormwater project, but the easements we're trying to get in the eminent domain, that is our last resort to get that, is just for an easement. It's not for the entire property. It's just for the easement to do the stormwater upgrades.
Correct, yes. It's for only like the first 15 feet of the properties where the storm sewer will actually be going, not for the whole property.
Do you want to let them know why we're seeking appraisals first?
Well, the appraisals are being obtained so that we can get an idea of the value of the easement themselves. And at first, we're going to see if we can offer this amount to the property owner as in lieu of going through the dragged out process of eminent domain. Good for everybody. All right, so next, I just want to chime in on the Public Works building. As a reminder, we have a $200,000 grant that has been extended and is set to expire in June. And right now we are in the process of determining how that money will be spent. We're going to collaborate together and see which options we have. We want to consider the new doors and as well as getting a floor finished and getting some viable utilities going to the building as well. And some other news with this is that we've been joining forces with Pitt University and a sustainability class. And they are actually working with us to help determine ways that we can help make this building more sustainable. And hopefully their findings from their research will be implemented towards getting this building complete.
The grant that expires in June, does that money have to be spent by June, or does it have to be allocated towards an expenditure by June? Because if we're currently doing this redesign work with Pitt, we're probably still have a couple months away from really having anything we can enact and act upon. And that gives us a month or 2 window to try to get something fully in place and ordered and paid for.
Yeah, that is our intent that this money will need to get spent. But I think the priorities will be to get more of the building done itself. And as that deadline approaches, we'll whatever findings they do come up with, we will take into consideration then. And we will implement them as we can.
Yeah, and it's also our plan to, there's two different things happening. We're looking at the doors and the utilities as a first step because we need to spend that $200,000. And we know that the design is unlikely to change either one of those things very drastically. So that's why we're focusing on that first. And then what the pit students bring us is going to be more the internal build out of the building, which is not going to be covered by that $200,000. So.
Would we be doing the doors and utilities, then to spend 200? I know June seems like it's still a few months away, but the way that things work, in local government do take time. So would we have to put out an RFP for that? Or are we looking at purchases that we can make directly and work we can do? We would be spending on, materials and direct purchases that our public works department would work with.
We are looking into that now. I don't know the answer to that yet because it's possible that when he has reached out to the door companies right now. They're possible that they could be on CoStars. If they're on CoStars, we don't have to bid the process. But we don't know yet. So if they are, so that's why we're doing it now, because we might have to do an RFP process and bid it out because it is more construction oriented. So.
Okay, moving on to the next item in the engineer's report is the stairs project. We had recently received some bids on the remaining sets of stairs and some of them, and they did come in high and we will need to discuss our next infrastructure meeting, which direction we want to take and which sets of stairs we want to focus primarily on.
How many bids do we get?
We got bids from 4 different contractors.
Sorry, was that 45 or 425?
Four.
Number 4. Four. Next item is we talk about the road paving program. Right now I'm putting together a plan that we can use that will help make this process a little more efficient. I'm preparing a drivable route to go through the borough to use the software that we had received. And once that's done, we will be able to populate a list of streets that we feel will be the most up for reconstruction. Hoping to have that done within the next week or so. The last item, the pool bath house update. No major updates here, just everything's moving along a schedule. Recently, some recent trips down there have shown that floor has been poured, the new walls and the partitions inside and exterior have been completed, or at least very far along the way. And everything seems to be on schedule. That's it, if there are no other questions.
Questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Keenan. Manager's report.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I'm the one thing that is on the agenda for mine is we're pulling it for today. That's part of the executive session after, and then it'll be considered again at next meeting. And we are going to have a brief executive session at the next meeting. So if we can start at 6:30, just so that we have time to review this again once we make changes. So we'll go from there. And I wanted to thank everybody who came this weekend to the zoning meeting. It was a huge success. We had more than 80 people, I think. I think we had close to 70 people in person and about 15 people online. So it was great. And we got lots of feedback. We got lots of feedback in person. We got lots of feedback via the internet, and we're going to share those with the steering committee tomorrow and set up a time to meet to discuss next steps. And so that was moving along very well. And there was something else I was going to mention that is slipping my mind right now. I'll have to come back to it. But with that is all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, standing committee reports, Finance Administration Sustainability, Ms. Perry.
Okay, I see that we have waste management contract still on here. Is there an update or is it?
No, we just want to keep it on to remind people that that is coming at the end of the year because it is very likely that it's going to cause a significant increase
Yes.
in payments. So we wanted to mention, and I did remember what I was going to say. So I'd just like to let everybody know. Too late? All right.
Yeah.
President.
Ms. Perry has the floor.
Just mention that we did apply for an LGA intern today. So to look at the land value tax idea.
Well, that comes under finance and administration, doesn't it? There you go. All right, so just to underscore waste management contract update, so that everyone knows, and you're going to be tired of hearing us say it, but the contract is up. We are going to be looking at alternatives, and it is expected that it could be as much as triple what we are paying now. And we will, as we find any alternatives, get any bids, we'll make that public. And where there is an opportunity for public input, we'll have some of that set up throughout the year. So along with that, in our last meeting, the Finance Committee was able to go through the budget to actual for 2023. And as would be expected, there's some places we're a little over, some places we're a little under. We're using a lot of that information to already look forward to crafting a little tighter budget next time. And at the end of the day, we actually were a little bit ahead of where we expected to be. So there'll be some funds going back to the reserve account. So we did quite well last year, owing to a couple of things, including, well, did we this past year we were under on salt, or where it's the,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we were. So for last winter, we were significantly under on salt and a couple of other things as well. And then we are going to be setting up our standing committees for the Wednesdays after the first meeting of the month. And that's it.
So I do want to commend the Finance Committee, also the staff for this, because this is huge. We, again, haven't had a tax increase for 4 years, and we still are able to put money into the reserve from last year. So being fiscally responsible is extremely important. And, you know, I commend not only the committee, council, and staff for making sure that we're watching those funds.
Thank you.
All right, infrastructure and land use, Ms. Compitello.
Sure, I will echo what the manager already said. Our multi-municipal zoning project update is moving forward, and the biggest update is we did have our public engagement event this past weekend. So a lot of appreciation for everyone who came and participated in that, whether they were there in person, whether they stopped by or joined online. We will have the slides. We do already, I believe, have the slides and the recording online.
They're on the code website. Yep.
So we have we had a good turnout. We had a lot of discussion. We had people there for about 3 hours, and our consultant, one of the members of the two of the members of the consultant team were there and presented updates on the project. We had a good turnout from residents, and we do continue to have on our Borough website some information about that project and a link to a project specific site that our consultant manages that has more detailed information throughout the entire project. So information about the status of the zoning and some of the products that have been done so far, and the slideshow from the event this past weekend are available on that project website that is easily findable on our Crafton Borough website. The zoning project itself is due to finish in the next few months. We have our funding that needs to be used by this summer. We've spent a lot of time really diving into it and going into detail and going through line by line. We had initially scoped to have it done by now. So we've been spending some extra time and appreciate that our consultants have allowed that. But we do have, for the purposes of our funding, we do need to wrap it up by this summer. So we'll be working in the next few months to take all the feedback that has been given and all the drafts that have been put together by our consultants so far. They'll be working on a final version of the code rewrite. And then what happens next with the code rewrite is it does go again to public comment. So we'll continue to give updates on that as it gets fully put together and ready for public review, but it will be released as public draft and there will be a lengthy public review process before it will finally come back to council to be voted upon after that process finishes. So look for that in the next probably April or so, maybe May at the very latest, but we're working on timeline here.
Yeah, and just to clarify something that I discovered, we do not have to pass it before the deadline is up. So we have June 31st is the grant. We just have to pay the consultant and have the product ready. So we could pass it in July or August or September.
Right, we can vote on it anytime, but whatever edits we need to make that we want our consultant to make need to be done by the time our grant is done. So we need to do the entire public review process well before that date so that they can make any updates. So we'll be giving regular updates on that, and then we'll expect a full draft to be going out to the public. You said June 31st, our funds run out, so.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure it's June 31st.
So certainly by beginning of May. We'll get more details about the timeline out in coming meetings, but yeah, are there any questions about that? I know we had most of the council members were able to attend. And we had, again, a pretty good turnout from residents, a lot of questions about the future of the community and why we're doing the project. We did get a grant from the state to do it, so we're using those funds while we have them. And also a lot of good input about what people want to see and discussion about what we're able to control through zoning and also other things that people would like to see that we are perhaps not able to do through zoning, but we are able to address in other ways. And so it was all good feedback for council to hear. Next item on my agenda also is the trail planning grant. We've also gotten some funds from the state to do some trail planning. This is coming out of some of the past work we've done over the past few years and specifically the Parks Master Plan. There has been a lot of interest in from community members in doing some trail upgrades and doing some trail planning puts us in a better position to proceed with that. We have talked in the past few meetings about not starting to create a steering committee for that project until that zoning public event was done, so we didn't confuse people between the two projects. But with that done, we'll be opening up an application process for to take interest from residents who would like to be on the steering committee. We do have our monthly infrastructure and land use committee meetings on the second Tuesday of each month, so that falls next Monday for us. So next Monday, the committee will be working out what that application process will be like and when it will open, but I'll expect that would open pretty soon. So we will have updates on the website. We'll certainly put it out on Savvy Citizen when it's open, and it'll be open long enough for sure to keep it open well past the next council meeting, so we give people time to apply. So if you're interested in that, just keep an eye out for it. It'll open soon. That's all for my committee.
Great, thank you. Planning Commission, Mr. Rodella.
Hello, so the January meeting was canceled. So our next meeting will be held on February 27th at 6:30. Also, there will be an opening on the Planning Commission starting on April 13th. So if you're interested, please apply. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Communication and Recreation. I know Ms. Bollenbacher isn't here. Mr. Hope, can you take it, or, yeah, go ahead.
We haven't met since the last time, so we don't really have anything new to report at this
Very
time.
good. Thank you. Commission vacancy, Ms. Bulkownik.
Thanks. Yeah, just to, again, a little repetitive, say this all the time, just encouraging everyone to please check out our website, craftonborough.com/commissions. We do have a handful of vacancies at this time. I won't read them all, but the hot ones are both the civil service and the zoning hearing board each have an alternative seat available. The library board has a current opening as well. And then the take us kind of into, well, I'll just say the start of summer. We'll also have another library board seat. The Shade Tree Commission will have a seat as well, and the Planning Commission, like Vince just mentioned. So always check out the site for more. We're gonna start doing a better job of getting these out on Savvy Citizen so people can see essentially, you know, I don't want to say criteria. I feel like, can we use that loosely? Is there a better word? Sort of what is entailed in being on one of these committees. So just keep your eyes posted. And if you know of anyone, please encourage them to apply.
Yeah, a couple of those Savvy Blasts will go out tomorrow.
Great.
Thank you.
Right. Council of Government has not met since last meeting in January. The next meeting is February 16th at 6:30 at Bridgeville. Right. Community announcements. Our next council meeting is Thursday, February 22nd at 7. Also summer employment. So we are accepting applications for the following seasonal positions. This includes the pool manager, assistant pool and concession manager, aqua aerobics instructor, head lifeguard, lifeguards, cashiers, attendants, concession stand workers, swim coaches, and seasonal public works. There's applications here in the office from 9 to 4, or you can go to the Crafton website and apply online. Application deadline is 4 o'clock on March 8th, so one month from now. So we want to get the staff in place before the pool opens, obviously. All right. Any other comments or items from council?
I just wanted to remind folks that March 2nd will be our first senior dinner of the year. I'm trying to make sure I don't give any of the details incorrectly. Hold, please. It is going to be, like I said, March 2nd, starts at 4:30. It's $10 a person. It has a Wizard of Oz theme, so if you want to wear a costume, please feel free. And then if anyone is interested, I guess I should say it, you can RSVP at 412-921-0752, extension 10. But yeah, March 2nd.
Great. Okay. Public comment. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers. Yeah, summer employment. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was the lifeguards and all that stuff. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council and may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Would anybody like to speak? Great. Oh, pull it up. There you go. We did that for you, Greg. From the last meeting.
Anyway, I have a question about the upcoming water replacement main project. I know that there's 4 streets involved, 2 of them are brick streets, and 2 questions. One was, are the bricks going to be replaced? And the second question is, some of these streets have adjacent brick streets near them that could be the contractor could use as access and further destroy a good brick street. And I wanted to know if there's any policy or way to keep those existing brick streets protected from additional destruction by heavy equipment.
Actually, Steve, that might be a question that I would have to put to you. I know we can control it when it's our contractors. In this case, it's not our contractors. Do we have any ability to limit where they go? You know, I can easily direct people on a pre-bid and construction meetings and stuff like that, but not in this case where we're not the contractor doing the work.
Unless the streets are regulated with respect to weights, et cetera, we can't enforce it. So we would be more of asking, requesting, reminding, observing, reminding, that sort of thing. And that's how you would enforce that.
Okay. All right, so we'll work with Larry and see if we can't get a contact. Sometimes, and this is often the case, we get a permit application and we get a period in which they're going to work, but we have no idea what day they're actually going to come. I guess if you see them working, let us know, because we might not already know if we're not, you know what I mean, out looking for them specifically. But we'll do the best we can. We'll contact them. We do have a number that we can contact them and ask them, you know, and make the suggestion and then keep nagging them. But this, we definitely have a lot less control in this situation over the other ones, so. Oh, yes. Yeah, they have a requirement to replace what they, as they are. Yep.
Few years back, me and Pearson looked at, started to look at Brick Street, and you had mentioned that if there was a policy of weight restrictions and say on what can go on the street, or something about it can be protected by weight. Think that at some point, council or committee, or you could take up a, start a policy or get some sort of a weight limit in Crafton.
So, in looking in the ordinances, there is a 5-ton limit. So we can look at, other than local deliveries, so we can look at what those vehicles may weigh that for the water replacement and the repairs. So, but that's the limit, 5 tons. We can look at whether or not that's sufficient or not for what you're looking at, but it looks like this ordinance was adopted a while ago, back in the 90s, so it might be worth taking a look at.
Is that for all brick streets? Or, I mean, is that for brick or is that for all streets?
Any street in the borough.
Any street? Okay, great. Now,
We
and then
have-
another, I mean, we can get into these details when we look at the policy more specifically, but do they have, I know that there's been in the past, the chief is less willing to cite people if a sign is not posted specifically for parking. Would this possibly be an issue if we don't have 5-ton signs on some of these streets? And if that's the case, should we hurry up and post some 5-ton signs?
I think signs are always good. I don't think they're always necessary, because this section of our ordinance also cites the vehicle code, so you don't have to necessarily have signage for that. So we could talk about it, but you know,
Okay.
if we can put them up quickly, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay, we'll look into that, see if we can get some signs up quick, so they're marked, yep.
I'll add on to that, Greg. I know we've talked about it in the past, and this was something we looked into a few years ago, and the planning commission had looked into some of the ordinances that some of our other nearby communities were looking at doing. And I don't think we were really focused on construction vehicles at the time. We were more focused on ordinances that would govern like reconstruction. But this is a good thing to bring up, so we can look into what is allowed and what examples are out there, and if we can do anything like that here.
Thank you. Any other folks? Oh, yeah, come on up. Just state your name and address.
I'm Sandy Morris, I live at 1781 Bar Avenue. Just a quick question. You mentioned an intern and a land value tax.
Yes.
Can you expand on that a bit?
Sure. So a land value, currently we have a standard property tax, meaning that you get taxed the same amount on both of the values of your property. Your property, if you go on Allegheny County's website, you have a land value for your property and you have a property value for your property. Typically, the property value is significantly higher than the land value. Like, for example, a typical house might be a $20,000 land value, but $150,000 house. The idea and the philosophy behind going more towards a land value tax is that when you have a property value tax the way we do now, we actually punish people who improve their houses, right? Because the more value, the more house value you have, the more expensive your taxes are. A land value tax flips that on its head, and you punish the people in that case, or hurt the people who are not improving their properties. The people, for example, if you have vacant land and you're sitting on vacant land and you haven't built anything on it and it's buildable land, that's what would raise the value. So if it was unbuildable land, it's probably not that valuable. If it's buildable land, it'll be valuable. Or if you have dilapidated properties that are falling into disrepair, that means that your taxes will be your taxes won't go down because of that. And the goal is to, for people that are banking land in the borough, and there are quite a number of people that have bought vacant land and are sitting on it and not doing anything with it. The idea is that it encourages those people to then develop the land. And typically what it does, and this is part of why we're getting an intern to analyze, because we have all the numbers, we know what the value of each property is. So we can look at how it will affect, if we do this change, who will see higher taxes overall and who will see lower taxes overall. So that's part of the hiring the intern, is to do a deeper dive analysis. So we know how it'll affect people at the tax level.
County tax and school tax as well, or this is just strictly the borough?
This is strictly the borough tax. However, if it's successful, we may seek to see if the school board could do it too, or seek if the county wouldn't do it. But we could seek to see if the school board would be interested in doing it if it's successful. And clearly their leverage is much stronger because they have much higher tax rates.
Basically, you're just trying to level out the playing field, everybody in the borough, that whether I'm sitting next to a vacant lot and I'm paying X amount of dollars because I got a decent house and I make it look pretty, as opposed to somebody who just leaves their land sit there.
Exactly. That's the idea.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Anybody on Zoom, just raise your hand. It's only looks like a phone, right? Like, okay. With that, our meeting is adjourned at 7:43 PM.